So imagine you're sitting on a 3-story building, and there's fire on the 3rd floor, and you are informed, and you need to go down to the 2nd floor and the 1st floor, and you need to tell the people that there is fire on the top floor. Okay. Now, first I can imagine with you, right? How would you react to the situation? How would you do it? Will you go down to the 2nd floor and very calmly tell people, hey, you know what? There is fire on the 3rd floor, so you guys need to go down. Otherwise, there could be death. Or will you guys run towards the 2nd floor and scream your lungs out, hey, there's fire. You guys will evacuate now. So, in which approach you would take? I don't think you guys will be like thinking about it too much. Of course, you guys will be going to the 2nd room, right there, screaming your lungs out. Yeah. Why is that actually? Because certain things needs to be said in its full emotion, right? Of course, your choice of word matters, but at the same time, your tone, intonation, and the emotion that you're trying to convey also really matters. Most of my silly fights with my partner is also based on the exact same topic, right? The tone and the emotion. It's not what you said, but it's how you said it. Even for myself in office situation and all, I get triggered when people use certain tone with me. So, and if you look at music, music is all about tone and intonation. It's about conveying emotions, right? This is what I'm going to talk about today. My name is Munz, and I've been screaming and growling for this band, for a metal band called the Growling for the last 16 years, right? And I am so glad, finally I'm on a platform and discussing this subject which is very, very close to my lungs, which is the art of growling. That's going to be my discussion point today. So if you look at it, music at the core is all about conveying emotions. And emotions comes in all shapes and forms. There are two major ones, right? So one is your happiness, hope, love, excitement, so on. Then there is the negative ones, so-called negative ones, which is your anger, hatred, regret, guilt, all of this stuff. Metal music usually deals with the second one, which is the dark side of things, right? But at the same time, if you look at any kind of music, music is not just about the positive emotions. It's also about negative emotions, right? Music is about love as much as it is about the hate as well. Now, some of you guys might be wondering what exactly metal music is. Metal music is a music genre that emerged in the late 60s and early 70s. It takes the inspiration from rock music, the main genre for rock music. It takes the energy from rock music, but it amplifies to a completely different level. Right? It's known for its heavy usage of electric guitar, electric distorted guitar, bass guitars, chest thumping, drums, and often aggressive vocals also. Right? I will give you an example. So over the years, metal has evolved into multiple things. So there are so many subgenres now called black metal, death metal, and my band, the Downtrodden, we call ourselves South Indian groove metal. Right? Let me give you an example. This is one of the tracks from my first album that we had. Can you see the audio please? So, this is how metal sounds like. I just wanted to give like a small snippet of metal, how it sounds like. I know some of you guys might be like finding it really funny. Some guys must be wondering like, what the hell is this, right? My experience was also the same when I heard or when I experienced metal for the first time, it was like a very intense and shocking experience for me, because I'm coming from a town called Kannur, right? Coming from a small village. I never had this kind of an exposure for this kind of genre of music. But instead of feeling sick about it or disgusted about it, that music really comforted me for some reason. Right? First of all, I didn't believe what I was hearing. Guitar was annoyingly loud, and bass lines were going mad, and the drums, the double bass, were like, coming on my chest, and it was hitting me hard. And I didn't know why. The vocalist was mad. He was mad about something because he was screaming his lungs up. Right? Yes, it sounded really funny also in the beginning, but it really, really comforted me. Right? For the first time, I'm listening to a music which is very intense. It comforted me a lot. It could be a personal taste also, because being a kid who's always been bullied by the family events and school and my teachers also. For the first time, I felt like there is something which I can relate to. I did not understand any words which was coming from the vocalist's mouth. Just like most of you guys wouldn't understand what I was singing, right? It was English. But that time I didn't even understand whether that was English or I didn't even know which language the vocalist was singing. But that music really, really connected with me on a very, very emotional, deep level. And it was such an experience for me. Apart from this heavy music, which really, really excited me, one of the most fascinating things about metal music when I heard it for the first time, it was the way vocalist was delivering the lyrics, because he was screaming, right? But that maybe the technique or maybe the way the vocalist, I was listening to this band called Slipknot, and their song was Left Behind. And I immediately understood that, they are trying to communicate with me something. And they were not really talking about a blue sky or a green meadow. I knew that they are talking about something very, very extreme. They are trying to communicate an extreme emotion with me, right? And it was literally music to my ears. I got really interested into metal music. I started researching more about metal music. That's when I understood that it's not just about loud guitars and drums and just growling and screaming your lungs out. In metal music, human voice is used merely as an instrument, right? When you hear the sound of a guitar or sound of a drum beat, you're not really trying to understand the meaning of it. Rather, you are feeling it, right? So in metal, I don't think it bothers anybody whether they are really understanding what we are trying to say through our words. But the emotion that we are conveying through this heavy music, that's what it matters. And metal is so heavy, and it requires or it demands a heavy vocals, right? So it goes very well together, right? In metal music, vocals are always percussive in nature, but if you look at metal music also, that is also very rhythmic. So somehow it is going very well together. Screaming is primarily considered as a technique to start with your predators, right? But now the human life has become so easy, and the screaming has, the use case of screaming has been diversified. Think about it, right? Like, what is the main use case of screaming in our daily life? To show excitement, to show aggression, or maybe even running down to the second floor and telling people that we need to evacuate. So it's about conveying an emotion with an intonation. That's what growling is. And if you think about it, sometimes your screaming becomes like your primal communication, even before you have it like a rational thought in your head. If you think about it, think about a couple of situations where you screamed recently, right? Imagine, or maybe you're breaking your phone. In that moment, can you can you imagine anything else coming out of your mouth apart from a scream? It's way beyond the words like ouch can communicate, right? And even before you are having a thought, you are screaming it out. Because it is the only way to give out some thoughts out of your body. I'm sure you guys can relate, like sometimes when you're in a situation where you think like the world is crushing on you, and that time usually you're, I don't know about you guys, but at least for me, like when I'm completely down and screaming really settles me, right? And I'm able to channel my negative emotions to something positive. Back in the school days, I don't know what the positives were, but at least I was not hitting those bullies back in my face, right? I was able to channel my anger through my music. So in metal music, as I said, growling is used as like as a tool to convey the emotion. It helps the listener. We call them metalheads. So it helps the metalheads to understand what the group or the band or the artist is feeling about a certain theme. By the time I was in college, I was actually into metal. I was trying to research myself, this was pre-internet era, so I had to actually go figure out like who's listening to rock music or who can download or from other people, how can they get me this metal music. So, but by the time I was in college, I never had an opportunity to growl it up because in school festivals or, you can't really go and growl because it needs certain context, right? But when I was in college, I was very active in student politics, right? And every other day there used to be a protest. I studied in Pioneer College, by the way, so you guys can imagine. And my comrades always needed somebody to chant the slogans, right? And I used to be the favorite because I think it's because of the way I was delivering all these slogans. This is how my comrades used to deliver the slogan, right? They would be like, Ingulab, Sindabad, Prashedam. This is the kind of tone or the intonation they used to give. And when I go there, that's an opportunity for me to growl, right? Perfect this text. So I used to go like, this is like a metal show which is happening in my head. There'll be like, my band's like Slipknot and all performing, but it's actually me wearing like a munz and standing there and doing this. But when I do it with passion. So it goes like, and when I was doing this, all the people who are attending this protest, they are, motivated. They're like, okay, let's go. This is Pradeshwaram, let's go. So I was able to communicate that feeling to them. And my comrades used to love this. And myself also, this was like a platform for me to perfect this technique. So that 3 years when I was in college, I understood the dynamics of this technique. Because you can't just go there and stand and exactly do what I just did for like 1 hour. You can't do that. So you need to change your tone, the way you're like, all these things when you're doing with growling. So you understand that dynamics. And college really helped. That's when I understood growling, it's not just, it's not singing in traditional way. It's more of a tool, right? So in metal, it's fundamentally a technique only. It's about training your vocal cords. Right? It's about training your vocal cords to vibrate and flap while you're pushing air through your vocal cords from your diaphragm. That is this technique is all about. Right? And when you're doing it, you're distorting the sound and trying to make it a brutal, right? So whenever I explain this as like a theory to my friends, they always say, hey, you are basically explaining how to burp, right? Like, take the air from here and burp it up. Well, it's not that, well, it is. Yeah, it is burping, but with the right rhythm, with the right tempo, with the right technique when you're burping, that's what it comes out. And there's no shame saying that. But this moment when I understood that it's a technique, I remember my early days with my band, the Downtrodden. So whenever we used to go and play live shows, I used to get sick the next day. So if I'm singing today or if I'm growling today, the next day I'm getting sick. I will get fever for sure, and it was like a phenomenon which was happening. Then that's when I understood it has something to do with the way I was singing. Because for me, it was just an emotional response. I was not really, using this as a technique. Being that angry kid, going on stage and being very emotional and growling, I thought that's how you're supposed to do it. But later I realized that vocal cord is considered like an instrument. So it's about turning your vocal into an instrument. So just like any other instrument, you need to practice it perfectly, right? So basically what was happening was I was not really using my diaphragm or my tummy, I was actually using my throat to make this sound, right? I used to go, ah. What happens is that you're putting a lot of pressure on your throat and there is a friction and there is a scratch and it gets infected, and as a result you get fever. And this keeps happening. That's when I really wanted to study this, because I didn't have resources to go and understand how to actually do this right consistently. So I spoke to some of the people from the Kerala metal scene, and they have given me certain tricks and tips to start with. That's basically what I wanted to share with you guys. Now, in case, I'm not sure, but in case if anybody is getting inspired from this talk and trying out growling, please make sure that don't hurt yourself in this process. Drink enough water, take breaks if you want to, and always take the air from the diaphragm, not from your throat. Don't try to make the sound from the throat, you will hurt yourself. Alright? So in case, if anybody wants to try this out, this is how you do it. So you breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. But every time that you are breathing out, you slowly try to give like a little bit of distortion to the sound. I'll give you an example, right? Like breathing in and breathing out. I know it sounds like a dinosaur, but that's how you do it. But later, if you are practicing it, there will be this moment where when you're trying to breathe out with the distortion, you will be able to control it. Right? You will be able to add modulation to it. You will be able to add the kind of emotion that you're trying to communicate. Metal usually deals with extreme emotions, extreme aggression, pain, all of that. But there are love songs also. You can communicate that feeling also, because if you would have seen in movies, like in climax, the hero goes and screams and says, "I love you, I love you," right? So there are love songs also in metal. I was lucky enough to have a parents who supported me this whole thing, and for some weird reason they were so proud of me, right? They used to protect me when relatives comes to my house. Before going, they'll be like, "I heard your boy is into a band right now. He's into music. Can you ask him to sing a couple of lines?" And that time my mom used to go and say, "You know what? He don't sing. He growls, and it's a technique. It needs like its own settings and everything." And thanks, mom. So she used to protect me. But even then, in my head also, I used to fully believe that this is some kind of a fluke. This is not a talent. This is not singing. You're singing because you can't. You're growling because you can't sing. It always used to bother me. But later, when I understood the depth of this thing, how difficult this is, or not difficulty, but it's like a talent, just like any other talent. You need to perfect it. It requires a little bit of effort from your end. And especially growling, when you're trying to communicate certain things the way you want to say, I really understood the complexity of it. So that kind of helped me to calm myself down. I stopped defending whether this is an art or not. I was not really caring. But there were a bunch of people who were able to relate, just like the way I experienced metal for the first time. There were people in my town, in my city, in my state, in my country who got introduced metal or growling through my music, and they were able to relate to the kind of theme which I was trying to communicate. And that was all I needed as an inspiration. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but yeah, that's how life is. There are things which you don't understand, and there are things which you are not interested in. But my witness to everybody is that, you know, if you are going back and checking out metal, be little open about it. Yeah, if it sounds funny to you, laugh about it. But I'm sure there will be one or two people in the crowd going to enjoy this genre, and it's probably going to change your life. Right? At least it changed for me. Right? So there are so many gatekeepers of art in the scene. Right? If you take any art, there are so many so-called gatekeepers. They say, this is singing, that is not singing, this is mainstream, that's new gen, this is not art, this is not, you know, like a lot of judgment out there. But the way I approach art is that if an artist is able to make a connection with its audience, even for a brief moment of time, if they are able to build a bridge, that is a good art, right? So we are not really looking for validation from society whether this is considered as like singing or not. But we don't scream and growl because we can't sing. Well, I can't sing, but that's not the real point. The real point is that, you know, this is the only way to communicate certain emotions, right? And that's why we scream. And music is an opportunity for anybody who's into music. Everyone knows that it's an opportunity to connect with people, right? And music is all about connection. So as a growler, that's what I'm trying to do.